Thank you all for joining me on An Ordinary Journey with Leigh Thomas. Yep, that's me out there on the road again. On the road again. I'm out here looking for some great guests and topics for us to explore. And boy, do we have things to talk about. So don't forget, it is a call-in show. Give me a call at 846-5067, and let's get this conversation started. With a sense of humor, of course. Now let me just find a parking spot and I'll be right in. Don't y'all start without me. Hey everybody, how are you tonight? I know, it's An Ordinary Journey with Leigh Thomas, and I am, of course, Leigh Thomas. And I thank you all for joining me tonight because we have an incredible show for you. And of course, I couldn't do it without you all, so I thank you for opening the door, letting me come in. I know every once in a while you slam it in my face, and that's okay. You know, you've got other things going on, it's okay. But tonight, thank you for opening the door because I look so forward to coming and visiting you every Thursday night. And of course, I couldn't do it without you, and I couldn't do it without everybody here. So I have to say thank you to Cliff and Steve and Buster and James and Andrew and everybody. It takes a village, believe me. Do you think I look this good when I get up in the morning? I know. And James does this for me every week, and he goes, honey, we got to talk. So I have such a good time coming every Thursday night to your house, and I thank you for allowing me to come in. And of course, we could not even begin the show without talking about our four-footed furry babies who are in need of a home. So let me introduce you to this beautiful little cat, and I don't know how the cat got its name, but its name is Tagalong. So take a little look at Tagalong. I know, isn't that a beautiful face? I know. Tagalong is cute and affectionate and just loves to have attention and great around adults and children and other cats. Of course, like any girl, Tagalong doesn't like to tell her age, but we figure she's around 3 or 4. She's neutered, she has all her shots, she passed all of her tests with flying colors, and as she says, if you can believe it or not, they gave me her certificate. I know, she got a certificate for all those tests she had to go through and all the shots she got. But incredibly, this really nice lady found her, and it has kept her from having to be put into a shelter, but we need somebody to come and take Tagalong home because Tagalong is such a sweetheart. She's over at heavenlypawshelter.com, and there is a contact. You can contact Sue. I'm not going to give Sue's information out, but if you would like to, you could call us, and we've got Sue's email address for you, or just send me an email at lee@anordinaryjourney.com, and I will send you the information, okay? Tagalong needs a home. Absolutely needs a home. Look at that face. I know. That face needs a home. Too sweet. Now, remember last week I showed you some pictures? I know. I've got 2 other cats I want to show you because they were found and they didn't have a name, but they were found. Take a little look at found, and then take a little look at found one. And they were found in the Red Lion. They were abandoned. We thought they were abandoned in the Red Lion district, but they weren't abandoned. Somehow they got out, and I'm going to tell you the rest of the story now, okay? Their names actually happened to be Roxy and Nina. I know! And the great thing, remember we did a show last week for the veterans? These 2 babies happened to belong to a veteran, and somehow they got out, and a very, very nice lady rescued them and kept them and sent them over to heavenlypawshelter.com. And now Roxy and Nina are back with their family. I know, don't you just love that heartwarming story when the babies get to go home? Look at those 2. Aren't they sweet? And look how much they love each other. They're back home. They've calmed down, they're very happy, and this is why we do this. So thank you to everybody who saw Found and Found One last week and helped us get Roxy and Nina back to their home. Now we've got, if four-footed furry kitty is not what you're looking for, let's take a little look at Chester. Chester is the sweetest dog, and he's over at East York Veterinary Center. Now Chester has an incredible story because Chester is a baby who has a little bit of a medical history and needs a certain home who can take care of him. But Chester has been at East York Veterinary Center for quite a while, and he's starting to get a little, you know how it is, you get cabin fever if you're locked in the house for 2 days? Well, Chester's been over there in his cage for quite a while, and we think he's a little beagle dachshund, and so this is really, really urgent because he's becoming quite depressed, and we need a home for Chester, okay? So if you'd like to bring Chester home, if you can find it in your heart to find a spot for Chester, he's a sweetheart and just wants to be loved, you know, just wants a forever home. So if you can find it in your heart, contact East York Veterinary Center or go on over and just visit with Chester and see how it works out. They're over on Industrial Highway, you know where they are. But anyway, Chester needs a home. So I thank you for taking a look at these babies. If you can't foster or adopt or rescue, maybe you can help East York Veterinary Center, which is a satellite of the SPCA, and the SPCA itself, and HeavenlyPawsShelter.com could use any kind of help you can give them. You can volunteer to walk the babies, you can volunteer to just sit and pet them on the head, because everybody needs a little love, and a little touch is the most healing thing in the world. Maybe you can donate food. Money's not bad. We can always use some money, okay? Or anything you would buy, toys or bedding or anything you would buy for your own four-footed furry baby, they can use. It will help their bottom line, because any donations that come in, they need all the help they can get. Now, I told you last week, and I'm going to tell you again, because I drive down the street and I see all these beautiful lilies all over the place. And if you didn't know that lilies, such a beautiful flower, is actually very fatal to cats. And so if you have any lilies around your house, make sure that your cats can't get to them, because it can induce kidney failure. And it's also very, very, very bad for your dogs. So just in case they do happen to get in touch with any of your daylilies, your tiger lilies, or Easter lilies, or even those beautiful Japanese, you know, showy lilies, contact your ASPCA poison control at their website, and they will help you figure out what you can do for your pet. So just make sure you watch out for the lilies. Okay, so since I told you the rest of the story with our two beautiful little kitties who got to go home, I am so excited about what happened. Remember, we showed you the tornado survivor last week, and she said God answered her prayer of her being okay, and then he answered her second prayer of her dog being okay. Take a little look at this.
All this week we've been showing you the reunion of a tornado survivor and her dog Bowser. It happened in front of our cameras.
It sure did. It touched many of our viewers who want to help. Anna Werner has an update on the story she reported first on CBS This Morning.
When we first met Barbara Garcia a couple of hours after the tornado ripped through her neighborhood, she was searching through what was left of her home, looking for her dog named Bowser.
So I know he's in here somewhere.
She told us she didn't think he'd made it, but moments later...
The dog.
That's our CBS producer who'd spotted something moving under all that rubble.
Oh.
And now...
So great to see you.
She has some bruises.
It was still bleeding yesterday.
Her home and possessions are gone, but she has the thing she wanted most.
Yeah, all of the other things, you know, one by one, they can be replaced. A lot of it wasn't even important, but I couldn't replace him.
After it aired on CBS News, Barbara and Bowser's story went viral. To date, it's been viewed over 500,000 times on YouTube alone. Her own granddaughter, Brooklyn Burney, found out about it from a friend on Facebook.
And just like everyone else, I cried.
You cried.
I cried.
Why?
Because everybody else can see the real her.
People like Colleen and Stan Rothschild of Plano, Texas.
Stan and I both have, mothers that are widowers. They live alone, and it just, it touched us.
They and others emailed us asking how they could help Barbara and her dog. Aaron DiRuggiero set up an account to raise money on a site called GoFundMe.com.
I was just so moved by Barbara. I was really just compelled personally to do something.
In 24 hours, she says, the site gathered over $1,500 in donations.
Well,
For Barbara,
he
who had
wasn't
no
having it
homeowner's
all when they
insurance,
started
it's
coming
all
in. That's what
almost
was
too
really
much.
coming. I didn't know it was that important. I really and truly, I didn't. I just thank everybody.
For CBS This Morning, Anna Werner, Moore, Oklahoma.
I can't get enough of that story. And what touches is, actually, we got to see it when it was happening and how she called him Bowsy.
Yeah, Bowsy.
Right there, you could tell that there's a connection between the two.
It really does say how important it is for some elderly citizen living alone to have a companion.
That's so true, Charlie. And you know, in Anna's piece, she said 500,000, but our Cracker Jack social media team says it's now up to 4 million when you look at all the social media platforms. Close to 4 million people have gone on to find out what has happened to Barbara and Bowser. We're glad to tell you they're okay.
And rebuild their home.
That's right, it's nice.
There you have it. I know. Isn't that the most incredible story? And it's so incredible that she found her baby. And thank you to everybody across the country who is helping her. Everybody wants to build her a new house, and I think that's sweet. She's been through enough, so your kindness is absolutely so appreciated. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's been helping out. So you know what time it is, okay? It's time for the question. Now, everyone has a situation, you know, in your life. You go through this and that, and you've got a little situation. You could use a little advice. What's your situation? I know. We're going to do some talking tonight, so call me 846-5067, and let's see if we can't figure out a little solution, or let's just talk. Let's just see what it is, you know, that you need to talk about. I know. Okay. Now, strap yourself in. I'm not going to get too crazy about this. I know it's soapbox time, but this really should go on my show, You Can't Fix Stupid. But let me just give it a shot, okay? So sit back, relax, strap yourself in, take a little look at this.
And sync, and let's roll them together. Can we do that? Take a look again. You got it. Dr. Robertson, is this the creature that you and your team found in South Africa?
From what I can see here, yes. The body recovered was incomplete, but based on the remains that were taken from us, it looks like the same species.
Dr. Smith, what did you think when you saw this and when you filmed it at the time?
Well, I looked at it and I just knew I was looking into the face of another intelligence, another species like us.
Dr. Smith, tell us, who did you first show this footage to when you realized what you had filmed?
Well, we knew we could not share it with the duty officers of the expeditions. So we...
Again, you mean the Icelandic authorities who basically said that if you pursue this, they're going to threaten you with legal action.
Exactly. So we discussed it as a crew, and because we are Danes and Greenland is a part of Denmark, we thought we could go to the Danish authorities. So we did.
I'm going to put up an article here, and this is just remarkable. Please take a look at this. This is Greenland's response to what the Danish authorities shared with them. The government in Greenland issued a total ban on all new drilling, all new oil exploration, and this was just announced on March 27th of this year, 2013, and all of this in response to the footage that you and your team shared with the Danish authorities.
Yes, that's right.
We have a map of this area. Can we put up the map right now? Yeah, I mean, this is near where you filmed the encounter, is that right?
Yes.
Seems like a vast area. That's huge.
It's actually the largest natural park in the world, and also...
We'll reevaluate their sonar testing.
I'm not sure about that, but even so, this is just an incredible result, and that you guys were able to achieve, and it gives me hope.
Well, if I may, I'd like to congratulate you.
I'm afraid that's all we have time for tonight. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. We close where we began, filled with questions, but also filled with new wonder about what might yet be out there. Thank you for joining us this evening, and for all of us, good night.
Don't make me come out there, okay? I'm serious. Don't make me come out there. In case you don't know it, this is a show that's on Animal Planet, okay? And it's the highest rated show that Animal Planet has had since they started. That includes that great little show that they do on Super Bowl where they have the puppies playing Super Bowl. Okay, this is even more popular than that. They did a show last year, and this is a show they did this year. It just aired. And don't make me come out there, okay? So many people think that they have found a mermaid. You know what a documentary is? I know, that's a documentary. This happens to be what they call a mockumentary. I know. It means it's not true. This is all fake. Everything is fake. But they have been flooded with people who are sending messages and tweeting about the mermaids that have been found, and it's a hoax, okay? People sit down. I mean, we all want to believe, everybody wants to believe in creatures that we haven't seen, like mermaids and unicorns. But right now, I'm telling you, to our knowledge, to the knowledge of science, they don't exist except in our fantasy. So please stop watching this and thinking that it's true, because I don't know, you're gonna make me think you're one sandwich short of a picnic if you start believing in this stuff, you know. If they had it, it would be all over the world. So please, people, enjoy it for what it is, and that's strictly entertainment, okay? I'm off my soapbox. I don't want to hurt myself. I just don't want you all hurting yourself, think that you could go out into the water and find a mermaid. Okay, thank you. I'm off my soapbox. Thank you, thank you, thank you. James, take his soapbox back before I truly hurt myself. Let's get on with the show, because we've got an incredible show for you tonight. Remember, at the beginning of the month, it was the anniversary month of the show being An Ordinary Journey with Leigh Thomas being on the air. We're starting our 7th year, and so I decided we should wind up the month and have anniversary show part 2 and just enjoy and celebrate. And so thank you for joining me for the party. We're going to have fun and just party, party, party. So in order to do that, I have someone who's going to join me, and you may know her, especially if you hear this. Take a little listen. So there you have it. I'm being joined by Carla Christopher. Hello, girl.
Well, hello.
And for those of you who don't know Carla, she hosts this incredible show on Channel 18. I know. Incredible show called Culture in Maine. When's it on?
It is on every Thursday night directly after you at 8 p.m.
Exactly.
We could not go head to head. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
But thank you for being on Channel 18 after me, because, you know, we'd have too much competition going on here. But
It's too much fun for a Thursday night
I
already.
know, right?
Yes.
So, people, you know where you should be on Thursday night. Channel 16 at 7 o'clock, Channel 18 at 8 o'clock. I know. So, I asked Carla to join me because we have so much fun on the air together. We've done a couple of shows together. We have so much fun. And who else to bring in to do a little question and answer, okay? We thought we would take a look at some of the questions that we've been asked, or I've been asked, over the last several years. We've had emails come in. We sent out a thing saying if you have questions you want us to talk about, or any subject you want us to talk about, just send them in, and we'd be happy to talk about them tonight. So sit back, relax, and let us give you a little TLC. And that, of course, means talking with Leigh and Carla. There you go.
That is too catchy.
I know.
I love it.
It'll work, won't it?
I would just like to say, I believe. I don't care if it's a mockumentary. It might be.
Don't make me hurt you.
I am
Don't
not
make
trying to
me hurt
I
you.
am not trying to make you get up out of the chair.
You know,
but I might make
I'm
you
strapped in.
fall
I'm
out of the
strapped
chair
in.
into the water and swim. I'm just saying.
I'm strapped in now because
Just because
I'll be over
it's
there and
not
hurt
real
you.
doesn't mean that it couldn't be.
I can go with that. I mean, I still believe in Santa Claus. So, well, if there can be mermaids, there can be Santa Claus.
A vast ocean makes way more sense then I can barely get into my size 16s. So I definitely know that no man that size is getting down my chimney. I had that thing sealed off years ago.
Now, wait a minute. That's where you come in with that, I believe. Did Santa Claus not come down your chimney ever and eat the cookies and drink the milk?
My Santa Claus retired during the recession. Santa Claus packed a bag, went to Tahiti, and said, I'm over it, I'm done, I'm out of here. The Tooth Fairy, I was like, what's going on?
Oh, hadn't thought of that one.
The Tooth Fairy by zip code, the kids in that zip code were getting $5.
Who brings your
I was
Easter
getting
eggs?
a quarter. A rabbit, which now, does that make any sense? A rabbit bringing eggs. I mean, that's taking fantasy way too far.
I hadn't thought of that one.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. She may have a point. I'm not sure, but
mermaids
she
are
may
the
have
least
a point.
far-fetched.
She may. I'm not sure.
Mermaids, I'm just saying, I'd rather go with that than.
So, if you
the
believe in
Eggman bunny.
mermaids, do you believe in aliens?
Well, here's my thing with the aliens. Aliens, Bigfoot, all of that. Some of the video is compelling. However, I haven't seen it. Same thing with ghosts and spirits. I've seen all the stuff on TV. I've seen people who just say they absolutely know. They never came and found me. And I am okay with that. I'm like, you stay over in your zone. I'm going to stay in my zone. This is my box. I don't need Bigfoot. I don't need Paul the Alien.
Come to my house on Halloween. We might be able to introduce you to somebody.
We got Ray.
Okay. We've got Ray on the line. Ray, are you there?
Save me from the aliens. They're coming for me.
Okay. What's going on with you tonight?
Well, let me ask you, you're probably at least, 25 these days, so you may not remember
give
some
or
of the
take a
things that I
year.
remember. But when I was a kid, I never missed Frosty the Snowman during Christmas, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Easter Bunny, all that kind of stuff. Mermaids, unicorns, even witches and goblins, and
Halloween staples.
all the monsters that are out there. That's what keeps our fantasies going. That's what keeps our spirits alive. Okay. Because we like to think of things in terms of fantasy, because the world, the way it is today and the way it always has been, really stinks.
Oh.
I mean, that may be a pessimistic attitude, but I think it's also a realistic attitude. We have war, we have crime, we have people hating each other, so it's kind of escapism. If people want to believe in mermaids, all right, fine. People want to believe in the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus. I don't have a problem with that, because it makes it easier to cope with the world at large. Oh, and I should have started off by saying, hi, Leigh. Hi, Carla.
Hi, Ray.
He feels about fantasy how I feel about Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah?
Something that you just makes it easier to get through the day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not well, it's a cliche, but it's a true one, that you're having a problem that you can't deal with. Hey, go grab the ice cream, or go have a burger and fries, or do something comfort-wise, because let's face it, it's hard to cope with life the way it is in reality. So we have to figure out ways to cope with life in a non-realistic way.
Does a glass of Merlot count?
A glass of Merlot always counts.
Just checking. Just checking.
And me, in my case, it's like Scotch and Gatorade.
There you go. Scotch and Gatorade.
Hey, listen, I try. I experiment, and every now and then I come up with something that's really decent.
I will absolutely have to try that one, just so that I can say that I tried it.
No,
you can't get down with the Scotch and Gatorade.
I like Scotch.
I will try
don't like
it,
Gatorade,
Ray, and I will report back on it.
Okay.
But it's got to be rainberry Gatorade. Okay, it's got to be a cheap Scotch and rainberry.
Oh, okay. So here's the thing: you will make us this drink. We will try it. Yes. And then we'll report back to everybody later, okay?
Yes.
Well, absolutely, because if you have like 18-year-old Glenlivet, you don't even put ice in that. You leave that alone.
Well, of
but
course.
If you have something like $13 a gallon Scotch.
If I could buy $13 a gallon Scotch, I'd have a lot fewer problems to be trying to escape.
We wouldn't need a therapist.
Exactly. I would already be feeling better about life at this point. I have $13 Scotch, and I can afford $13 Scotch.
Right.
So now it's a 1-2 punch of goodness.
And Gatorade you can get anywhere.
There you go.
1, 2, 3
Exactly.
punch of goodness.
So thank you
Before I
for
go,
that.
Carla, can't wait to meet Miles.
I know. Actually, for those of you who are watching, Miles happens to be under our desk right now because he's such a good boy. And this, Miles, is a rescue dog. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you
And,
for doing.
Carla, I left you a message on your phone. So call me when you get a chance.
Thank you, Ray.
All right, bye-bye.
We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
You know what? Ray has a great point in that whatever your choice of fantasy is, we just all need something to get us through, something to get us past whatever it is that we're struggling with every day.
The thing is that I'm afraid to tell you what my fantasies are, and I don't know that gets me through the day. Right? Okay. Right? Okay. I'm not sure. So.
Okay, but not as, even if it's not a fantasy, whether it is, you know, your secret box of Magnum triple caramel bars.
Right. Those little bonbons that
hypothetically,
everybody,
purely
hypothetically. Okay.
Absolutely. That glass of, you know, bread Moscato.
Right.
You know, totally hypothetical, of course.
Right.
Or, you know, whether it's needing to go out and volunteer. You know, you work in a horrible, soulless, gut-sucking, destructive atmosphere, but you can volunteer on the weekends, or you get to go to the animal shelter and
that's
pet
the thing that makes your heart sing.
And that can be what gets you through, whether it's mermaids
that's what I
or
say.
aliens.
That's what I say to most people. You have to have that thing that makes your heart sing, or there's no real reason for getting up every morning, because if you don't have that thing that makes your heart sing, you can't deal with all the other pressures and problems and stresses that you get through.
That is true.
Right. It could be your children, it could be playing a musical instrument, it could be volunteering, it could be anything. But as long as you have that one gym that makes your heart swell up and you feel good, then you're in the right spot.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's absolutely the way that I ended up hosting my show.
Really?
When I was young, I was set to be a dancer.
Really?
I knew I was going to be the greatest ballet dancer ever. From when I was 3, I was just sashaying across the stage. I was just meant to be, if I wasn't going to be able to be a drag queen, I was going to be Black Swan.
A drag queen? You were going to be a drag queen?
I knew I loved makeup and heels from that young. I knew I did. But I was in an accident at 12. And I was told I was never going to be able to dance again. And I ended up falling in love with theater, and then with music, and then with poetry. And each one of those, you know, wonderful experiences, each one of those new things was a way for me to connect with people, was a way for me to share what I loved, was a way for me to have a reason to wake up in the morning. And I love the idea of sharing the stories of what people have found that makes them want to still get up in the morning.
Right. That's why we do this show.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why people call in. You know, you want to connect. You want to find something to connect with.
And you want somebody to connect to.
You got to know somebody's there.
Right.
I've tried connecting with the mirror. It is not nearly as fulfilling.
But if you have nothing else, and I always say this, you know I've said this forever on my show, if you don't have anybody else to talk to, go into that bathroom, stand in front of that mirror, and talk to yourself, because sooner or later somebody else is going to talk to you as well. But until then, you know, just keep talking to yourself, because if you don't if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. So get in front of that mirror and tell yourself how great you. I used to date this guy. Okay. Let's
confessional time.
Well, kind of, sort of. Let's not judge him. But when I first met him, I thought he was like Jonathan Livingston Seagull, you know, like a human version. He just kind of, this guy was a little off the wall, and yet he was president of an international plastics corporation, traveled around the world. He was always traveling someplace, right?
Course.
You know, like from the movie with Dustin Hoffman, Plastics. It's all in plastics, right? In '68, it's all in plastics. I think that's what they said in the movie. This wasn't '68. This was, you know, much later. But
of course,
he would go into a restaurant. He was bigger than life, and people loved him. There was, you know, he was one of those people who could say anything to anybody, and nobody got upset about it, right? But we would go. We had a dear friend, a couple who owned one of the inn spots in New York. And so he would go into this place. We ate there almost every night. And he would go into this place and stand in a chair And look, yeah, exactly. Jonathan
does that?
Exactly, right?
But he
That's
was
what
one
I
of those
said.
people that could get away with
Exactly.
it.
You know, Jonathan
All right.
Livingston Seagull,
Go
right?
on with
He was flying high. You know, he was into the to the sky, going toward the sun. He just was one of those people who had that incredible, I know.
Naturally?
Yeah. You know.
Impressive.
So he was just this incredible person who just made things happen.
Where's the downfall? I know it's coming.
Nope, not really. He just was that person who found the thing in his heart that made his heart sing, and that was being with people and connecting and giving people a reason to come out of their. He had such shock value. I can't even begin to tell you.
Shocking people out of their shells.
I can't even begin to tell you. After we get off the air, I'll tell you a few things he did. But and to high society, nonetheless.
They're the most fun ones
and
to
to
mess
my grandmother.
with anyway.
But because he found that thing that made his heart sing, which was connecting to people and being with people, he could be the class clown to bring other people out of whatever they were in, so they didn't think about it for very long. So, you have to find that thing that makes your heart. And I'm not going to go any further because I'll get in trouble.
Well, I read somewhere if people did not want you to talk bad about them, then they should have treated you better in the first place.
Well, see, here's my thing. I don't want to talk bad about them. I just don't want to talk about them. If I talk bad about them, I'm giving them power.
That's true.
Right. So I don't talk about them. It's just, I don't talk bad about them. I just let it go. Of course, after the show, I have no idea what I'd be saying about Carla, but we'll we'll hit that when we get there. What? Okay. Let me ask you a question. I saw a thing today, and I'm not sure that I believe it, but let's.
Well, I'm a believer, so I'm ready. Hit me.
Okay, here you go. Now, I saw a thing today. They did a survey. I think it was New York Times or the press, classy survey. And they were asking people why men and women cheat. Ooh, right? Now, they decided that men cheat because they're seeking approval, but women cheat because they're seeking attention. What do you think?
So I guess we're assuming that we cannot say that men cheat because they're dogs and women cheat because they're stupid.
No, I already think that men cheat because they're dogs. If you're going to cheat and you need approval, there's something wrong with that right there.
See, I've heard so many rationalizations for why people feel the need to step out.
Right.
And it's everything from the hunter instinct,
Wait a minute,
I am a caveman.
Let me just stop you right here. Why did you say step out? It's cheating. Don't make it nice.
All right. We won't pretty it up.
Okay.
We won't pretty it up.
Okay.
Practicing your infidelity.
Okay. Cheating. She means cheating. Okay. Go ahead.
And everything from, it's about the sense of competition. It's about the thrill of the hunt. It's about, primal instinct. And there may be something to that.
Okay.
I don't even know how natural monogamy really is.
Right.
If we sit back and think about it, it didn't become part of the mandatory marriage play until a handful of 100 years ago.
That was because nobody lived past 20.
Right. You might as well live it up. So obviously the good life means getting out there and having fun. If you've only got 20 years.
No. In the beginning, when it came down, like in the Bible and all this stuff, nobody.
When the law came down.
Exactly. When men decided to create the law about what,
Exactly.
because men were the ones who wrote the Bible and set the laws.
And that is kind of why I do take issue with the whole idea, because really, why is it that it was like, women must be kept on lockdown? Because we both know that is the standard.
We're going to address that in just a few seconds, okay?
That is true.
Yeah. So while we're talking about this, take a little look at this clip, and then we're going to talk about this a little bit more.
Ivy writes in and says, I've been trying to forgive my husband for cheating on me. We've gone to counseling, but I just can't seem to forgive, nor can I trust. How do you let go of anger, and how do you trust again? God says to forgive, but it's been so hard to do. I want to forgive so we can get on with our lives.
So what do you think?
Well, that's a good question. I think forgiveness can be one of the most difficult things in the whole wide world to do, and especially when it comes to a spouse, because that's one of the ultimate betrayals.
All right, here's the secret.
Okay.
And this is the secret. Stop talking about the cheating. He cheated on you. Well, he's a man. Okay. So what you do is begin to focus on why you married him in the first place, on what he does good. Does he provide a home for you to live in? Does he provide food for you to eat? Does he provide clothes for you to wear? Is he nice to the children? Do you have a happy family? Does he take the kids to sporting events? Does he go out and watch their Little League games? Does he share with you stuff that's going on? And is he handsome, or is he, you know, what is it? Start focusing on those things and essentially fall in love with him all over again. And I recommend you reach out and touch him. Touch his face. Touch his face. Hold his hand. Look into his eyes. Talk to him. But it's you're praying, oh God, keep me not to hate him for what he did when he was with that stripper in that hotel room 10 years ago, and I'll never forgive him, kind of thing. Please help me. So what are you focusing on? You're focusing on the thing that makes you mad. Stop that. Start focusing on the good stuff. And he must have something good, you wouldn't have married him. So think about those things and give him honor instead of trying to worry about it. But recognize also, like it or not, males have a tendency to wander a little bit. And what you want to do is to make a home so wonderful that he doesn't want to wander. But think of the temptations that are out there. The internet is filled with pornography. The magazines are filled with pictures, salacious pictures of women. You look anywhere you turn around, there's some solicitation to the senses to entice a man. And so what you have to do is say, my husband was captured, and I want to get him free. But reach out and think of the good stuff. And then begin to thank God that you have a marriage that is together and that, you know, you live in America and good things are happening.
As you can see, I strapped myself into the chair because if he was standing in front of me right now, I'd have to backhand that man, and I'm not a violent person.
I'm done.
I cannot believe that he actually, you know, went there.
Was he talking about a slave master, a pimp, or a husband? Because his description of, oh, well, he pays for you.
Right.
And he gives you a home and puts a roof over your head.
Right.
Well, guess what? Susie Q from Avenue B can say the same thing about the guy who sends her out on the street every night.
Exactly.
So is she supposed to bow down in gratefulness and honor him, especially if he's cute?
Well,
because if he's handsome and cute, that absolutely makes it okay.
Right. It makes
totally
it okay.
Exactly. Totally okay.
You know,
that's what I had wrong all these years. I didn't know.
This man, you know, Pat Robertson is supposed to be this person, this guru, this religious person who is guiding and shaping the lives of all these people who watch. Get yours, you know, get it. I don't know.
He sounded a little too personal, didn't he? He's like, I mean, you know that when you're with that stripper from that room 10 years ago in that dirty hotel room that had green curtains and a blue bedspread.
Sound like he might have been there, right?
And her name was Susie Q. I'm just saying he sounds a little bit too invested in that scenario.
I know. And it's like, and he's, you know, get over it. He's a man. Wait a minute. You know, I don't care. If you go into a relationship and you marry somebody with a set of vows, you know? And if you're going to be unfaithful, get out.
Pretty much.
You know, before you are unfaithful, get out. Before you hurt everybody. If you don't want to be there, get out.
I made a New Year's resolution that I was going to go to the gym and lose 20 pounds like 5 years in a row. And then I said, you know what? I don't ever do this. I need to stop making this resolution. It's just better if I admit, you know what? No, I'm going to McDonald's and I am going to have that McMuffin, and I'm not even going to get the nutritious egg white McMuffin because it's just not as good.
Right.
I want my McMuffin.
There you go.
And I maybe want it with... Oh, we have a caller.
We do, but I just want to say before we pick up that
be
call,
real. Just be real. Just say what you're going to do. If you promise you're not going to do it, then don't do it.
Don't do it. Right. I said
We
the
have
same
choice.
thing years ago. My doctor said you have to get rid of the stress. You're under too much stress. So I got rid of the stress. I got rid of my husband. Life was much better after that. Right? There you go. Just get rid of the problem.
Exactly.
Okay? I think we have Paula on the line. Paula, are you there?
Let's find out.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hi, is this Paula?
Yes, it is.
Hi, you've got Leigh and Carla on the line.
Hi, Carla. I love your show.
Well, thank
and
you.
Leigh, I love your show too.
Thank you. Have you got a question or a thought or
No,
sound
I
off?
just fell on the floor after listening to that Pat Robertson talk about the way to handle a cheating husband.
I got news for you. Sit down and strap yourself in because I've got another clip of him that we're gonna show in just a second.
Please, I might have a heart attack.
So now tell us, what do you think? Do you think that if, he asked the question, how do you forgive? The woman came to him very honestly and said, how do you let something go? And I know that is a struggle for me. I want to hold on to something and just wring it out like a sham wow.
But
I
now,
want
wait
it
a
to,
minute.
it holds.
Let me ask both of you a question. When you're in a relationship and that trust is broken, how can you forgive? How can you get it back?
That's what I
Because
wanna
if
know.
you have no trust in a relationship, you have nothing to build on.
Well, are trust and forgiveness the same thing? I mean, can you forgive if
Well,
you
No,
don't?
they're not the same thing at all.
No, I agree with you.
So how do you get both back?
Well,
How do you get that?
Here's the thing. When you both enter into an agreement, a contract, a marriage, a vow, it's based on the trust and the promise. So when your spouse breaks that trust and breaks that promise, the contract is broken. Now, I'm very religious, meaning I believe in God and I believe in trying to the best of my ability to live a Christian life and follow God's rules, okay, and please God. Now, in the Bible, there are two reasons why people can get divorced. Only two. One of them is if you are married to a non-believer and the non-believer leaves you. The second reason is cheating. And even in the Catholic Church, you can get a divorce recognized by the church and God if a man cheats on you. So now, but after talking to several religious leaders, I was advised, and I've been told in discussing it, that they don't just say, okay, he cheated, pack your suitcase and leave, and that's it, end of story.
Right.
There may be reasons why you would want to stay married, but you cannot stay
'Cause
married
he's cute.
until the man repents, he's sorry, and he acknowledges it and promises not to do it again, and then you begin to rebuild trust. And it's through that rebuilding of trust and renewal of vows that your forgiveness comes and your trust is reestablished.
That's a good point.
Just to say, let me move on, is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Thank you.
Ridiculous.
Thank you. Let me ask you a question while you're on the line, and I'll ask you too. Let's see. What constitutes infidelity? I mean, is it a kiss? Is it a thought? Remember, Jimmy Carter used to lust in his mind, right?
Exactly. And
is
I did
it-
not
have
actual intercourse with that woman.
You know,
No.
is it a computer relationship? If they go to the strip club? I mean, what constitutes infidelity?
It can be any of those because it has to do with intent, just like we talk about in the law, intent. And some men can kiss a friend, or maybe they got drunk at New Year's and they kiss one of the women there, and that's all. And then
Christmas
they're
party,
sorry,
right.
and they say, "I'm not going to do that again." My father-in-law used to say, "If you don't want to fall in the pool, don't go out on the patio." So it depends what your risk factors are.
But now there is a
What
difference.
tempts you? What makes you want to go the step further? What sets up all that?
It's like pornography is a gateway drug.
Exactly.
It's the marijuana.
Exactly.
Well, but there is something to be said for, okay, temptation, putting yourself in bad situations
right.
can lead to worse decisions.
I think everybody has temptation every day.
Right.
It's whether you pay attention
But
to it.
there's a lot more temptation if you hang out in the strip club every Saturday night than there is if you hang out in
True.
Bible study. Let's just be real
well,
about
not
that.
necessarily.
That's true. That could be a very attractive Bible study.
Not necessarily. So thanks for calling tonight and sharing your view with us.
Thank you for
But now, as I said, sit down, strap yourself in, because I got another clip we're going to show you in just a second.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Actually,
I'm scared.
we might as well go ahead and show this clip now. Guys, if you wouldn't mind, show the next clip.
This first one comes from Michael, who says, my wife has become a real problem. She has no respect for me as the head of the house. She insults me. She even went as far as stretching her hand to beat me. I've lost my self-confidence. Her words hurt so much, and she refuses to talk through our problems. Please tell me what I can do.
Well, you could become a Muslim, then you could beat her.
But in lieu of that.
You don't want to go to Saudi Arabia?
No.
You know, I think this man's got to stand up to her, and he can't let her get away with this stuff. And, you know, I don't know. I don't think we condone wife beating these days, but something's got to be done to make her.
Physically, but I mean, why would she not want to talk through their problems? That's so unlike.
She is just totally. Well, she's rebellious. The chances are she was rebellious with her father and mother. She's a rebellious child, and she doesn't want to submit to any authority. And she probably had temper tantrums when she was a kid. And you know, the little girl, I hate you, and she wants to slap her father. Well, that's the same kind of thing. She's transferred the father. Now, she might. Oh, I hate to say everything's got to be some psychological counseling, but you know.
Well, no, but I think you need a third party here.
Yeah, definitely. But that's the problem. She does not understand authority. When she was growing up, nobody made her behave. And now you've got a 13-year-old in a 30-year-old woman's body, and she is acting like a child.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do with that? You can't divorce her, according to the scripture. And so I say, move to Saudi Arabia.
I don't know how to say this, but and I'm trying not to be judgmental, but this guy's like 27 inches short of a picnic. And why he's still on the air is absolutely beyond me.
He's on the air because he is apparently a psychic. He is apparently
you have no idea
a
about his
psychologist and psychiatrist. He is apparently an advocate for being a member of every religion under the sun, including their most extremist sects.
And we should all move to Saudi Arabia.
So you could just...
Yeah, exactly. We've got Dean on the line. Dean, are you there?
Save us, Dean. Save us.
Hi, are you there, Dean?
Yeah. Hi, Leigh.
Hi.
I'm living in New York, and I was listening to your program.
Yay. Thank you. Do you have a comment?
Yeah. I was married, divorced.
It's a difficult path.
I've been there a couple of times. Okay.
3 times.
Okay.
And I was being stabbed.
Oh, wow.
And they were having an affair. And that really hurts my heart.
Absolutely.
I understand completely. I walked in on my husband and his girlfriend in our bed. So I understand completely.
And it is always worse when it's in your bed.
Absolutely. When it's in your own house, it's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how did you get through that?
I'm still trying to.
Uh-huh.
And it's the hardest thing in my life.
Are you all still together? Are you trying to work it out, or?
No, we're divorced.
Good girl. I didn't want to say that till you said something. Good
right,
girl.
right. We didn't want to say it until we found out, but.
I'm a man.
Okay.
But anyway, I finally found out when I joined my family tree.
Yes.
we had more divorces in our family than it meets the odds.
Yep,
Well,
and that is true with a lot of
unfortunately,
families
yeah.
nowadays. I think that's more the norm. What is it? It's like 60%, 50 to 60%
right.
of marriages end in divorce.
Right.
So
right.
you're kind of making a leap of faith. You're not signing a indelible contract
Right.
anymore when you get married. You're more taking a leap of faith and saying, I know that there's just as much chance this won't work out as will, but I'm
Right.
still going to go forward on faith and, you know, really hope that it works out.
Exactly. Now, don't take this the wrong way, but when I was, a teenager, I remember talking to my mom. I think it was when I was getting married the first time, and I've only been married twice.
So hard to keep track.
I don't want it to sound like I've been married 10 times. Okay, so the first time, I remember talking to my mom, and she wasn't thrilled about the fact I was getting married.
Right.
And for some reason, in my mind, I said to her, getting married's like going steady. You know, because today's day, not everybody lives together, stays married for the
That's
rest,
true.
you know. So getting married is kind of like going steady. You know,
Right.
you go for it.
It's a link without
link.
necessarily being a life-altering permanent commitment.
Exactly. But we want to thank you for calling in, Dean, and sharing.
But I wanted to say something else.
Okay, go ahead.
I was thinking about the things that you were talking about a couple weeks ago, and then you're going into a lot of other stuff like bullies.
Okay.
I didn't get that. I'm sorry, I missed it.
All right, we talked about a lot of things in life about bullying.
Oh, bullying. Yes.
Yes.
In your
And
marriage,
I've been
was there
bullied
bullying?
around since I was elementary school.
Oh, okay.
You know, and that does happen a lot too, I think, when women and men end up in relationships where, you know, they're not treated as well as they should be, and where they accept things that they shouldn't. It's because they do have that history.
Right.
Where, you know, when you are told something enough times, you do start to believe it.
Oh.
When you're treated badly enough, you start to believe it. You can be convinced that you're crazy, even when you know you're not crazy.
Absolutely.
You can be made crazy.
And that happens in a lot of marriages. And again, not to use me as an example, but I weighed like 110 pounds when I got married.
And he
my
probably
first
said you were fat, didn't
he?
he?
Said I was fat. Every day he told me every day I was fat until I started believing I was fat, you know?
Absolutely.
So you've apparently figured out a way to not believe what the bullies say, right, Dean?
Right.
Good for you, because
But it
if you
took me a
believe,
long time.
yes, I know. It's a long. See, people don't understand how powerful a word is, or a situation that they do to people and bully them, because it's going to affect their life for the rest of their lives, whether
That's
you
true.
come to terms with it or not. Anytime you've been abused, that will help you make a decision for the rest of your life, because it's always in the back of your mind. But
Sure.
when you get past it, and you have, and I know it still bothers you, but you're past it because you're talking about it. People who are
Right
still
on.
right, people who are behind the 8 ball, don't talk about it. You're talking
That's
about
true.
it, and I'm very proud of you.
The more you can talk about it, the
Right.
more you can realize and say, you know what, this is not my
When
fault.
you-
This is not my
when you
shame.
talk about Santa Claus,
Do you believe in Santa Claus?
well, the thing is, when I was in elementary school, friendship,
We've got a little delay here for people who don't understand.
Right.
Right.
but anyway, we were coming home from the school bus, and kids in our neighborhood would bully us and told us if we believed in a Santa Claus, we were going to be pushed down, beaten.
Ouch.
Yeah.
For doing something that's so natural and young. But you know what, a
and then
bully
we
will
had to
pick
go
anything.
into the thicket.
Well, I'm sorry that you had to go through that, because Santa Claus is a spirit. You know, for me, I always believe in that red suit and that white beard when I see it. But Santa Claus is that spirit that you hold in your heart, and it's the
Right.
way you treat your fellow, person on, in your life, or the people that you meet on the street during, every day of your life. It's not just for Christmas, it's every day of your life, and it's that kindness and that blessing that you give to the other person on the street. So anyway, I want to say thank you. We're almost out of time, but thank you, Dean, for calling
sorry
in.
about that.
No. Call, thank you. Every time you watch the show, give me a call. Let's talk.
I will do that, Leigh.
Thank you.
And thank you, Carla.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Dean.
Thank you so much. Good night. So, so much. We'll all go to Saudi Arabia, this man I have a hard time. I have a hard time with that. But
how to forget forgiving the cheater? How do we forgive him?
I know.
For how many cheaters he's inspired.
Well, that's it.
And wife beaters and all of it.
I know, and
I need to process forgiving him.
There is, as I was saying to you, there's like a list of this long of all of the clips that I went through of the, stupid stuff that he had to say to all of his followers. I mean, this is blatant, beat your wife. A man is going to cheat on you. Accept it. Especially if he's handsome, and make sure.
And if he's got money, too.
And if he's got, but
that makes it okay.
Make sure you treat him well so he wants to come home.
Right, because if he cheats, it's your fault because you didn't give him a reason to want to stay.
Exactly, and so this is the kind of stuff that women are being told over and over, and we have to stop that. We really have to stop that.
We have to change the message.
So for all of you women out there, this is all bullshit, okay? I can say that on the air. It's all bullshit. And so I want you to stand up for yourself. Don't be militant about it. You can do it in stages, but stand up for yourself, right?
I'll be militant.
And know that you don't deserve it. If he's cheating, he's cheating.
You don't deserve to be cheated on. You don't deserve to be lied to. You can choose to forgive if you want to choose to forgive, but you have to know it is not your fault.
Right.
And it is not something that you deserve, no matter what you're told, no matter what you look like, no matter how you behave.
No matter how you dress.
If the man hits you, if the man cheats on you, and vice versa, because women can be abusive too towards their men, for sure.
I've known several guys who've been in abusive relationships. Now, Steve Harvey wrote a book, and I love this book. It's Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, okay? And it gives you such incredible tips because
it does.
He is a man. I mean, that's why his name's Steve Harvey, and he's a man.
He keeps it real.
He's giving the advice from a man's side to women. So act like a lady, but think like a man. You don't deserve being treated like that. And he says, the only reason you're being treated like that is because you allow it to be.
That is, people will treat you as good as you make them, and as bad as you let them, in every situation.
And I don't think it's even as you make it, it's what you expect. If you're out and someone expects to be respected, you respect them because, my mom, bless her heart, when she was 70 years old and dating.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Good for her.
Oh, yeah.
You go, girl.
After Daddy died, she was out dating, and she would stand by the car until he came around to open her door. She would stand at her chair until he pulled it out for her at the restaurant. If she got cold, she asked, she would say, "I'm cold," and he would offer his coat because he knew she was a lady. So it's what you
demand your respect.
Exactly, because
demand it.
That's because you deserve it. It's not so much you demand it, you expect it, and therefore it should be.
I think that's a good closing thought.
I know. So we've had a ball tonight. I hope you've had a ball tonight. Carla, I thank you for joining me. We've got a few seconds here.
I've had a ball.
And we probably will keep talking, and the clock will run out, and we'll see you at some other point. But just remember that we were doing a little TLC tonight. You were just talking with Leigh and Carla, and we've had such a good time. I know. It's An Ordinary Journey with Leigh Thomas. It's our anniversary show. I couldn't have asked for a better person to join me.
Happy anniversary.
Well, thank you, darling.